Ever wonder what the world looks like from just a few inches off the ground? With tiny, clever paws and a mask that makes you look like a tiny bandit? Well, let me tell you my story. It all started in a cozy, dark den, nestled high in the hollow of an old oak tree. I was just a tiny ball of fluff, one of 4 kids, all squirming and blind. My world was the warmth of my mother and the soft chirps of my siblings. Mom was our universe. She was a master of survival, her fur a patchwork of grays and blacks, her eyes sharp and knowing. She'd leave us huddled together, her scent lingering like a promise, and return with the most amazing taste, a juicy beetle, a stolen bird's egg, or the sweet pulp of a discarded apple. Those first few weeks were a blur of sleep and gentle nudges. Then my eyes opened. The first thing I saw was the dappled sunlight filtering through the leaves outside our den. It was a kaleidoscope of green and gold, more beautiful than I could have imagined. Soon our legs grew strong enough to stumble, then to climb. The inside of that oak tree became our playing ground. We'd tumble over each other, practiced our pounces, and listen, always listen to the sounds of the world outside. The night Mom decided we were ready to explore was the most terrifying and thrilling night of my life. One by one, she nudged us to the edge of our hollow. The ground seemed miles away. My heart hammered against my ribs, but her gentle chuff of encouragement was all I needed. I followed my bravest brother, my claws digging into the rough bark, my tail acting as a clumsy rudder. Making it to the ground felt like landing on a new planet. The smells were intoxicating. Damp earth, fragrant night-blooming flowers, the musky trail of a rabbit that had passed hours ago. My nose, my sensitive black nose, was my new god. Mom taught us everything. She showed us how to use our hands, our amazingly dexterous paws to feel for grubs under rocks and to pry open stubborn mussel shells by the creek. The creek became our classroom. She'd stand waist-deep in the cool, flowing water, demonstrating how to wash out food. It's not really about cleanliness, you see. The water heightens our sense of touch, helping us identify every little morsel before we eat it. I remember the first time I caught a crayfish. Its slick shell and wiggly legs were a puzzle, but with a little fumbling, I managed to get it to my mouth. A crunchy, savory victory. We learned the language of the forest. The sharp alarm call of a blue jay meant a hawk was circling overhead. The rustle in the undergrowth could be a harmless squirrel or a dangerous fox. And we learned about the two-legged humans. They were a source of both incredible bounty and immense danger. Their world was a maze of hard, flat surfaces and strange, bright light. But their most fascinating creation was the metal can, the bin of wonders. Mom was a legend, a master of the chore. She taught us the art of the heists. The trick was to work as a team. One of us would act as a lookout, while another worked on the lid. My job was often to be the nimble one, the one who could tip the can just so, spilling its glorious contents onto the ground. A treasure trove. Half-eaten sandwiches. Sweet, sticky donut remains. The remnants of a chicken dinner. It was a feast fit for a king. But the human world had its own set of rules. We learned to fear the sudden roar of their metal beasts, the cars that sped down the black ribbons of roads. We lost one of our siblings that way. A bright, curious spirit who ventured too far. The grief was a hollow ache in our family. It was a harsh lesson in caution, a reminder that our lives were fragile. As autumn painted the leaves in fiery colors, a change began within me. A restlessness, a need to find my own way. It was time to leave the den. Saying goodbye to my mother and siblings wasn't with a grand farewell, but a gradual drifting apart, each of us following our own scent trail into the night. My first winter alone was brutal. The feasts from the trash cans grew scarce. The creek froze over. I had to rely on the survival skills Mom had drilled into us. I dug for hibernating insects and foraged for forgotten nuts. I found shelter in an abandoned woodchuck burrow. The earthy darkness a lonely substitute for the warmth of my family. There were nights I'd curl into a tight ball, my thick fur my only defense against the biting wind, and wonder if I'd see the sunrise. But I did. Spring always returned. The world thawed, and with it new opportunities. I established my own territory, a patchwork of backyards, a stretch of forest, and a particularly fruitful alleyway behind a bakery. I learned the schedules of the humans. Exact time the baker put out the day-old bread. I became a ghost in the toilet, a shadow with clever hands. I even outsmarted the so-called raccoon-proof gadgets. A bungee cord on a lid. A fun new puzzle. A complex latch. Just give me a few minutes. My intelligence wasn't just for finding food. It was for survival. For the pure joy of solving a problem. One evening, I caught a new scent on the breeze. It was sweet, musky, and utterly captivating. I followed it to the edge of my territory and found her. She had a splash of white on her tail and the most intelligent eyes I'd ever seen. We circled each other, chirping and chuffing, a silent conversation under the moon. Life is different. It's no longer just about my own survival. We found a den, a cozy space under an old garden shed. And soon there was the familiar sound of tiny squeaks and chirps. A new generation now. It's my turn. It's my turn to teach them how to pry open a shell, how to read the signs of the forest, and how to navigate the world of the two. When I watch them tumble and play, their tiny masked faces full of wonder, I see the reflection of my own journey. I'm a survivor, a puzzle solver, a parent. I am a creature of the dusk and dawn, a wild heart beating in the suburbs. My life is a tapestry woven from shadows and moonlight, hunger and feasts, danger and discovery. And as the sun sets, casting long shadows across the lawn, my nights is just beginning. There are treasures to find and lessons to teach. The world is waiting. Thank you so much for watching my story. If you had enjoyed this little glimpse into my world, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more tailies from the wild side of your neighborhood. See you next time!